Um, yeah, and let's just go through the cards. And see. Oh, that's not the Myst age, of course. Go to the recent cards here. So the nice thing is, since I haven't installed any of the yes, since the home stack isn't active, the real Myst home stack versus HyperCard's home stack that is active right now. You know, it can't do its color stuff, and we actually get HyperCard's drawing instead. And so you see the hotspots on this page. And we can go to other cards and see the hotspots here. And let's see. This one is quite a characteristic one. This is the clock tower. On the inside. So you see like the 3 turning gears with the numbers on them and the levers that you pull down at the sides and things like that. You can actually make that out. And I think, yeah, if I actually use the browse tool, it will actually show parts of the color. Because those are actually done in a different way. Those are movies. Whoops. It now actually played a few. So the thing with movies in HyperCard is HyperCard never really had movie support. What it had was a bundled external command that created little borderless windows that played movies. And so since in Myst you cannot really move the window, you know, they just put those up here and showed them in about the position of these buttons. So it's all kind of janky, and I've said this on Twitter when I started going through Myst like this. For a program that is held up as this is the cool kind of software that you could easily make with HyperCard, HyperCard uses surprisingly little, Myst uses surprisingly little of actual HyperCard. Because you see, it's replaced the complete drawing. It uses this movie external that came with it. But, you know, that's it. Okay, now it went to, I guess it turned right or something like that. Let's see, what other card might we recognize here? Oh, I think the one I had to... here you see like all the little movies they had that are visible from the start are shown here. So, you might recognize this one as well. This is the thing for entering numbers. Where is the... Oh, that's the inside already. That's probably why I can't see that. Okay. Anyway, so there was one little problem that I had. Oh, I guess the easiest way is to just play until there and show it. So let's try running Myst again, but in HyperCard, yes. We don't need all the intro. Let's go to Myst Island. Turn left. Go inside. You can see that, particularly in the emulator, this wasn't really in the real Myst, wasn't really an issue, is that the cursor override sometimes doesn't catch and we get the standard black and white HyperCard cursor. But that wasn't in the original game. Like that colored cursor was bulletproof. So this was the one spot that you saw earlier with the two little boxes. Alright, I would probably so you can already see, like, Myst was amazing for its time, you know, just being able to stand there and look in every direction. And you see I'm not getting some of the transition effects here that I should be getting. Let's see if best transitions makes a difference. Ah, yeah, that looks still a bit wonky, but at least it does something. Alright, and now we need to go down there. And now I need to be sure I don't click too fast. Ah, here it is. Nice butterflies. And we... So that's what that was a hint for. To show you the breaker switch here. And the audio is a bit... well, it's... I think all of this is... sampled 8-bit uncompressed audio. Or if it's compressed, it's a lossless compression. So this is before MP3. Okay, so here is where I ran into a problem with the emulation and with reverse engineering. Because this thing here, this puzzle, it changes the clock. And so I had a time that was something like 2:20 or something like that. And the problem was this button would switch it by 10 minutes and started at 5 past, I think. So it was unsolvable for me. Which was because this emulator runs too fast. And so what I eventually did was I looked at the script and saw, okay, here, that was wait 1. And that's why when you know, it repeats until the mouse is up. So just like every single click took so long to register that it had already done 2 iterations in 2/60ths of a second. And so I made that a little more generous. That's the problem if you're running old software. There is no turbo button on this machine. Anyway, what else? This effect kind of runs twice, which is a bit confusing. And you see, like, this was my main problem at the time when I was first playing Myst, was that they really don't they're not 90-degree turns, and you get this generic transition effect from one point of view to the other. So it was easy to get turned around, because, like, sometimes, you know, you clicked left and you thought, well, I'm probably turning about 90 degrees, which in general, you know, usually you sort of had 90 degrees. But in this case, in this one case, it was actually 35 degrees or something. And then suddenly you thought you were going to the left when you were just, like, going diagonally up or something like that. Wait, wasn't there? Oh, okay, that switch is there. I think that should just work then. I hope it does, at least. Yeah, anyway, I don't know if any of you have any particular questions. I mean, I could just play the game a little in its old form, so that you have a... Oh wait, that's where we already are. And I mean, the game runs a little weirdly in this emulation, so... Oh, and the video. We haven't really talked about this. Let's see, can we... Load move. Is that in the card? Lip stairs, that looks interesting. Library stairs down. That looks promising. Okay, let's check that one out so you can see the movie that you just saw. Come over here. Myst Age. I actually kind of almost like these colors. Like, my choice of highlight color gets a little washed out. But like this slightly teal colored window border is actually surprisingly nice. Okay, is there... Mystlib? What was it called? Library stairs down. Okay. Wish I had a good memory. Library stairs down. Here it is. So you see, this is a tiny QuickTime movie. And if we call up the movie info, video track, format, you see it's 100 by 136 pixel in a format that is called compact video. If you don't know that format, it's also known as Cinepak, so P-A-K. And I think it was, like, it's limited to, or intended to compress well enough to show 320 by 240 video on a 1x CD drive. So that's basically why these movies are also tiny, because remember, not everyone would install Myst onto their hard disk. Most people would run it directly from CD, because, you know, I don't have 500 megabytes free on my hard disk. So yeah, so this is compressed. I've forgotten what the vector... something with vector. It's basically... It's not like MPEG. MPEG uses discrete cosine transforms. And this one used like the algorithm before that. This was, I think, most consoles at the time used this algorithm. So I think the Atari Jaguar, for instance. Which others? I don't remember. But anyway, so you see, it's just this little movie that they pre-rendered for this little animation in the corner. Yeah. Oh, one more thing here. I wanted to say something about stuff. Oh, yeah, right, what they don't use from HyperCard. So I mentioned earlier save games. And the thing with those is, let's quit this here and grab our save game. Oh, I should have probably made a new one. Oh well, too late. I guess I can sort of... where is it? I keep forgetting where I put the save game. Oh, I think it's in the HyperCard folder, right? Isn't it? No. Myst saved game, here it is. So I've already changed its type. So you see here. Okay. I think I put the button in here. No, I didn't. Which one was it? Here, that one is it. So the thing is, these save games and some of the other stacks have a handler in them that kind of triggers immediately as you open them, to kind of go, okay, set up the save game state, like overwrite the state of a standard game, and then immediately jump to the first stack, you know. So of course that's what a save game would do, but it's just, since HyperCard cannot open arbitrary documents, they just took a stack and said, and like put active code into the save game that restores the game, instead of having, you know, in a real programming language, when you open a document, your program, like the application itself, so in this case the space Myst stack, would receive a message saying, hey, this file path needs to be opened. And that's something that they had to do differently in Myst, because there is no such message in HyperCard. And so that's why all save games are stacks just like the ages. They should really just be text files. So this is something I've already edited. Originally, this looked something like this. This is how it looked. So it was black, and in the upper left corner there was a tiny text field. Oh, and the text size was something like 2. So that's all I saw when I opened this. Like, I picked the text field tool and saw, okay, here, there is something here. It's a text field, but I can't read anything. And so I went and changed the text size to 9 and made it scrolling, which makes it opaque. The other thing I did was first, to see anything at all, was you can hide, like they painted the entire card black, just so that when you start it, you get, you know, a black screen and you don't see like some little text field or whatever. Or they would have to provide some sort of graphic, or, you know, you don't want just a white box when you load a save game. I guess they could have written, you know, like loading save on this card, but I guess they didn't bother. And anyway, as you see, what they're basically doing is just each line contains some value, and when they load this, they have a script that grabs all these values, sticks them in global variables, and that's how they restore game state or save game state. So it's a little lo-fi, and a bit more complicated than you would do it in a programming language that supports opening documents. In that one, you would just say, hey, you know, write this to a text file, or rather load it from a text file. You can actually write to a text file in HyperCard. That wouldn't be the problem. The problem is just that you cannot double-click a text file and to have HyperCard tell you how to open it. Although, I think that might not have been in HyperCard 2.1. I should actually check that. So here's the thing, on classic macOS, and generally on macOS actually, you know, on Windows, whenever you open a document, Windows creates, like, loads a new copy of the application, and as it starts up the application, it immediately gives it the path of the file to open. Whereas on the Mac, there are no several copies of the same application. Well, you can technically cause several copies of an application to be launched. So by copies, I don't mean duplicate the application in Finder and then launch those 2 applications. That, for me, would be 2. But rather, on macOS, you generally do not have, you do not load an application twice to get 2 windows. Rather, what you have is you have an application that starts normally, and then right after startup, it gets sent an interprocess message that tells it either you were open without documents, so that's the open application event, or it will tell you, please open these documents, or please print these documents. So there are a few predefined messages that the operating system will send to you. And as far as I remember, HyperCard supports these messages. You can actually say on Apple event and unpack those. Hi Telethal. Thank you for the follow. So if you can open a... So I think it should have actually technically been possible at the time to catch an open document event in HyperCard and just do this with a text file. I just don't know whether, they just said it doesn't make a difference with a stack or a text file, or whether there is some other little detail I'm forgetting about. You can check it from HyperCard application if size resource has the Apple event support flag on. No, that, like, HyperCard itself supports Apple events for opening stacks. That definitely works. That's, yeah, we saw that before. Yeah, the size resource, that's not the problem. Like, I think I have HyperCard in the quick access, yeah. So we have the size resource and that high level event aware. Yeah, that flag is set. It even does local and remote high level event aware. So HyperCard does that, but that doesn't mean it can deal with being opened a file that didn't exist, at the time HyperCard was coded. Like, HyperCard just knows when you double click a stack, I open the stack. But HyperCard doesn't know if you double click a text file, what should it do with it? And so I don't know if we have more time. I might actually do a little experiment for that, but I'm trying to think. Trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to show here. But anyway, so you see, like, the save games were basically text files saved as a stack, which is a little bit weird. But I totally wouldn't be surprised if that was because of if that was because of sorry, I completely derailed my train of thought here. So yeah, that's how safe games work, and I'm sure maybe they found some bug or something where they went, okay, we can't directly open files. Like, it could be that open document events didn't go through in HyperCard, and it's just like, if you have custom Apple events, you can send them across. So the inter-process messages, I mean. Something like that could be that scripting Apple events in HyperCard might have just been limited. Or it could be that they started with HyperCard 1x when they developed, and by the time they were done, 2x was out, and they went, well, we're not gonna rewrite our save system now. Who knows? So about this button, so there is this lock messages, unlock messages command, and that's very useful in editing HyperCard stacks that do things when they are opened, because lock messages basically blocks like the open card and open stack message, and that's how I opened. So I wrote myself a little utility button here that asks you, please show me a stack, then locks messages, goes to that stack. And that way I can open the save game without it actually running its code. Because I think it's in the card. Yeah, here it yeah, basically when you open it, it immediately makes everything look nice, then copies that text into the global variable restore data, and then just goes to the Myst. Goes to the Myst stack, or if it can't find it, it quits. So that's of course not very useful for editing. That's what's quite interesting, like how HyperCard handles Apple events or how they handle their save games. It's a little like today you would never do that. You would never put executable code in your save game. That's kind of like a security gap. But of course, since HyperCard is just one big scripting language, that was how you sometimes solved problems like that. So it's all a big hack. But yeah. I've done talks about HyperCard in general previously, so not sure how far I want to go into that here. Oh yeah, one more thing that I wanted to address because some people asked me about it on Twitter back when I talked about this reverse engineering. When you run Myst regularly is probably when the emulator crashes. Okay, so the emulator apparently can only run Myst one time. We might have a slight leak somewhere. Anyway, what would I want to say? Well, I guess I can say it just straight ahead. So you may remember that in the source code there was a lot go card ID and then like 25325 or something, like these cryptic numbers. And on the other hand, HyperCard is known for being a programming language, that is English and normal. So what the fuck is up with these weird numbers? Like in some spots we had go to card restart or something, so obviously there are nice names. And so what's going on here? And actually I'll show you that without Myst, I think. So yeah, I think that was a convenience kind of they did for their non-programmer colleagues. So here's the thing, HyperCard wants to be accessible to non-programmers. And so if you look at a stack, it is made up of a bunch of cards, like pages like this one here. Like you have the card welcome, you have the card stack kit, you have the card 3, 4, 5, you have the search paths card, and things like that. In this stack. By the way, you checked now that HyperCard 2.0 and 2.2 didn't yet support the Apple events. That can't be right. It should be 2.0 and following. It can't really be, because otherwise you can tell by this. Where is it? Gigabyte. Here I have HyperCard 125 here, so the last 1x release. And if you look at that with ResEdit, it has these funny mstr resources in there. And that contains file quit, which says here quit HyperCard, and file open, which says OpenStack. So these are basically just strings. I could rmap them I should probably have done that, come to think of it. I should also add res edit preferences here. Let me just... Okay. So, let's add a quick resource map. New resource, map to str space. Not just for the editor, also for templates. Now get info and name this mstr. All right. And now, yeah, now we see them as regular strings. So these are just, and these are strings that the operating system used. Like if you clicked in Finder to open a file, it would actually simulate, you know, like return an event that said, hey, your file menu was clicked. And then when you called the track the menu, it would immediately say, okay, menu tracking returned your open menu item. And how it found the open menu item was by name with these mstr resources. And so it would say, okay, your file menu is whatever menu has the name file in this case. So that's actually pretty normal. But like if your app was localized, this would probably say Ablage, for example, in German. And then open, in this case, says open stack. That's the main open command. And we didn't see that in HyperCard 2. Because HyperCard 2 is Apple event aware. And that's been like that since 2.0 as far as I know. So not sure why the high level event aware flag would be off there. Because that's a System 7 thing. Which of the size resources did you check? Because I think HyperCard has 3. It might be that it's just off in one of them. Okay, I don't have a copy of 2.0 here, so I guess if you say, that's weird. Does it have an Apple event? It might not have an Apple event terminology, because that's like specific scriptability events. And I know that in, I think, 2.2, there's only one Zeiss resource and both with ID -1. Okay. Well, here all 3 had it set, so not sure. And I'd have to look it up in the documentation, which ID is actually the main one. Like, that's another case. Like, in, I guess... No, I don't even know why there are 3. Like, you have the recommended size and you have the minimum size. No idea, I don't remember. Might be that version of HyperCard added support for it, yeah. Yeah, I don't know which 2.2, 2.3. I don't remember enough what features were added in what. I know that like proper, like doing something with Apple events in HyperCard itself, I think wasn't in the first version, but like supporting the open document, open application Apple events and things like that, those should have been in it from the start. but who knows. Anyway, let's quickly get back to those weird numbers. So a stack can have several cards, and they can have a name. So for example, if you look at this card, it's called Welcome To. This card is called Stack Kit. You know, so you have different pages that look differently. And so a common thing, of course, is that you go through several cards. Wish I could type. So that you have several cards. So let's say, whoops, that wasn't the one I wanted to use. Oops. Let's go on the background. All right. And so we have the first card. Let's see, 72, 80, maybe. Something like this. All right, how do we get this? Oh yeah. So fill this white. No. This should work, yeah. So, of course now I wrote 2 on the first card. Never mind. So let's just write 1 here. I can unpack this. Wait, wasn't there, what was it, T?
Uh-oh.
No, okay. Anyway. We can make white text if we just futz around long enough. Okay, the cards are swapped. So let's go to the first card. Cut. Cut card. Paste it again. Wait, what? I can't paste the card? Oh, right, the clipboard in the emulator is broken. Okay, then let's just do it again. There was some trick I remember to make something transparent, but I don't remember. And to select the text once you had written it. So as you see, by the way, HyperCard's drawing supports 3 colors, basically. It supports black, white, and transparent. Or rather, what they did was they had a black and white bitmap and a mask, which is a second black and white bitmap, that just everything where something is black gets drawn, everything where it's white, it doesn't get drawn. So basically an alpha channel. Just with, you know, a 1-bit alpha channel. Anyway, so we have a first card and a second card. Now we want to make a nice new button. To go to 2. And now what we can do in HyperCard is we can use this here, link to. And now we get this palette that just stays here. And now we can go to the next card and say we want to link to this card. It bounces us back, and it has written a little script for us. On mouse up, go to card ID 2863. So what is 2863? Well, if we look at the card info here, it says card ID 3884. And if we go to the next card, surprisingly, card info ID 2863. So this number is a unique number that a card gets when it's created, and that never changes over its lifetime. Unless you go into your stack with the hex editor and actually change the bytes, you know. So that means that you can, that the easiest way for someone who can't program to create a transition between two cards, and maybe let's do this like this, so it looks, I wish I could click, so it looks a bit more like creating Myst would have been. So now you have this button, and I can just click here and it goes to the other one. Of course we don't need to highlight clicks, so I can just go here, click. So that's basically what they did for Myst, is my guess. That, of course, they did, obviously, because we've seen those buttons, create transparent buttons on the card. But my guess was someone probably, you know, did mock-up art or something in HyperCard, because the Cyan folks have been using HyperCard for their previous games, like Cosmic Osmo and all those black and white games. And so probably someone just went through and created a HyperCard stack that showed the different puzzle locations and put the buttons on there, you know, that did all the puzzly stuff. And at that point, or at the same time, or I don't know, someone went through and did 3D models, and then they added the native code plugins like HyperTint, which replaces the card's color, the card's graphics with color, to just draw all that stuff in there. And so that's why they don't have, like, I could name these cards. I could say this is, let's say just in German, my first card. My second card. And now I'm on the second card, and I can create a button. That's, by the way, the shortcut. If I hold down the command key while dragging out, I can create a transparent button right then and there. So you can tell putting buttons over pictures was like a basic behavior in HyperCard that you used a lot. And now I can here just write, go to Card meine erste Karte. And then basically that's our way back. We can go back and forth between 1 and 2. And you could even, like, if you click here, tasks, but I think that was new with HyperCard 2.2. So I think when Myst was made, they didn't have that yet. But Link 2 already existed. But tasks kind of expanded that. So you can say, here, go to a certain predefined location, like the first card, the last card, the previous or the next card. Go to the home stack, whatever. And you can set up a visual effect, and it will actually see, like you see here, it says buttons current destination. So HyperCard actually knows that our button already contains a go command, even though I typed it in. And and so here in this case, we can use push right, for instance. And now if we look at our script, it has added align visual effect push right. And so if I click there now, whoops, oh, the emulator doesn't run visual effects. Ah! Bug. Yeah, it's the visual effects had to be highly optimized, and so they're assembler that most emulators either don't show them at all, or like show half the frames or something like that. Maybe, let's see, if I say push right very slowly. No, okay, you just don't see the effect in the emulator, I'm sorry. But like it would have, like slid the card 2 out towards the right and slid in the card 1 with it. Anyway. And so that, them not wanting to write code and just telling someone you can command drag to mark an area that can be clicked, and then click link to and go to wherever it should lead. And then you can also change the name to right, left, whatever, to get the right transition effect. Having that set up means that someone can script this, and then you can hand it off to some, game designer / artist, and they don't need to be able to program it. They can build the entire game world for you. And that's how you could, like, once they had done the rough models and we're just going, okay, now we're making it look pretty. They could have exported all the graphics, made these stacks, and explained to this person how to hook it all up. So yeah, that's about that. And we're just about at the end of our stream, so I think as a bonus, let's try to make this AppleScript thing work.